How do you get over the fact that you've never been your partner's aesthetic preference? We'll get into that in a bit, but first, my 33-year-old female boyfriend, 29-year-old male, does not want me to go to male gynecologists. Is this controlling, or does he have a point? As the title states, 33-year-old female boyfriend, 29-year-old male, does not want me to go to male gynecologists. He also said that if I give birth, he will make sure there are no male doctors in the room. I actually prefer female doctors as well, but the fact that he acts like it's something he has a say in, and that it's something that shows my respect for him, makes me feel uneasy. He said, "You wouldn't want to make me feel uncomfortable, would you?" Which seems a bit manipulative. However, he did say that if it's an emergency, then it would be okay. So at least he wouldn't try to deny me medical care if it was a dire situation. Is this controlling behavior, or does he have a point? For background, we've been together 1 year and 3 months. Listen, I get being insecure, but this guy is taking it to a whole other level. Medical professionals can't do their jobs because they would see your anatomy. I'm no doctor, I'm no nurse, I've never experienced childbirth or witnessed it, but I can already tell you that when the doctors are in that room, the last thing they're concerned about is sneaking a peek. Also, hi, I'm Steven, and if you guys enjoy tricky relationship topics, why not hit those like and subscribe buttons down below? That said, our next story is my 34-year-old male, wife, 29-year-old female, has a newer relationship with a colleague. He, 28-year-old male, came clean to me about it when drunk. How do I move forward? My wife doesn't know I have a lot of these details. She's essentially led me to believe that this guy is a new best friend over the last 6 months. And honestly, he seems a little naive without too much ill intent. He definitely has played a part in this though, and I've detailed some of this below. She's always had male friends, has been a bit of a partier and drinker as a result of us marrying young, and loves to stir and flirt. I've never been the jealous type, but what I'm seeing here feels different, as this guy is single and seems to have caught her attention when we were having some difficulty. I essentially just wanted some more time alone and didn't express it well. She had an after-work function at our neighbor's house, another colleague, last week, and I attended. They were all pretty drunk, and I had a chance to long talk with this best friend. Seemed like a decent guy, but the more we chatted, the more he gave away. I asked him point blank about his relationship with my wife, and he slurred his way through the below. He let me see his phone also, and I was pretty shocked. They're now texting 4 to 5 days a week, 5 to 10 messages from each of them depending on the day. Weekends sometimes included in this 4 to 5 days. Playful, teasing, sometimes just general chit-chat. Selfies for my wife when she looks good. Compliments flow readily regarding good looks, etc. My wife doesn't shut it down. She seems to be seeking them and now responding with her own compliments. They're meeting for catch-ups at least once a week. Weekends sometimes. I've known about a lot of these. It seems she's lied about some, to be honest, or not told me about some. They talked sexual history in detail a few times, and she drills him for any details about current girls. They admitted attraction for one another. My wife texted that she isn't sure she could keep her hands to herself if they were alone, drunk. She said she didn't want it to lead to hooking up as she might not be able to look at her family. She also then agreed that they could drink and would just need to be careful. She'd have to be sent home at some point. She's called or asked to call him to talk at very random times, such as when she's staying away from home and it's late. Seems to be lonely calls, but she isn't calling me. She's insulted me a few times when she's upset with my lack of attention, my physique, or me ignoring her needs. For example, when she has exciting news and I'm not overly interested. She makes him sound like God's gift to women, to her girlfriends. I've seen this firsthand. When I asked him why he thought this was appropriate, he hit me with the below, essentially saying that they can't be more than friends because of this. She calls him a friend all the time. She mentions me often enough and our upcoming plans. She's offered to set him up with a friend once or twice, for a casual instance. She's talked about sex life with me, for example, I get lots more sex than other married men. She's made sexual jokes about our bed needing fixing. She told him that I'm a good husband and that she doesn't want to screw things up with me. She told him that he should see me and our kid every so often so we know he isn't anything special and he's just colleague's name. She generally doesn't text or call at night when she's home with the family. She's brought our child to hang with him a couple of times now. She wants to make sure any future partner of his likes her so she can remain friends with him. Is the best approach to just come clean with what I know here? is this an affair or just an odd friendship? I mean, I'm not gonna lie, a lot of the things OP's describing would make me very uncomfortable to learn. It might be one thing if they were genuinely forward with what's going on here, but it seems like way too much to be comfortable with, especially the fact when she got to the point of saying, "If I was drunk, I wouldn't be able to keep my hands to myself." If it's not an affair, it's one too many drinks away from it. At the very least, there is a lot of emotional cheating going on here. And frankly, with all those meetups, I'm not convinced that it's not more than that. Our next story is, I'm 36-year-old male, considering ending my relationship with my girlfriend, 33-year-old female. I'm considering ending my relationship of 4.5 years. My 36-year-old male, girlfriend, 33-year-old female, and I have been together for about 4.5 years. We first met in California in 2019, and after dating for about 7 or 8 months, we decided we would move to the location where the first one of us landed a good job. I got a great career opportunity in another state, so we moved there together. Now, the town we moved to isn't terrible, but it's also not the most exciting place to be either. I was hesitant to buy a house here as I didn't want to become tied down if we decided to move on. She was insistent on purchasing a house because she wanted a yard and dogs. I went along with it and we bought a nice little house. When I say we, I mean me. It's all in my name. I fronted 95% of the cash. She would help pay for half of utilities and the mortgage. We lived there for about a year when she decided she wanted to attend grad school. While of course I would be sad that we wouldn't be living together the 2 years she was in school, I wanted to be supportive. The town in which she was going to school is about 4 hours away. I took over all expenses at our house while she's at school, and I've also been supporting her financially to a degree. Fast forward to today, and it feels as though she doesn't want to spend time at our home anymore, nor does it seem to bother her if she doesn't see me for extended periods of time. We tried to set up a system where we take turns visiting one another, but every time it's her turn to come home, she tries to manipulate me into coming into her current town. Needless to say, it's been putting a lot of strain on me because I have a demanding job, and I have to take care of my property as well. I've expressed this to her, and I honestly haven't seen any attempt to change this dynamic on her part. In all honesty, the town she lives in is a better place to live than my current town, but way more expensive. I just figured she would actually want to spend time at our home sometimes. She has roommates, so it's far more relaxing at our house. Plus, she complains about her roommates all of the time. She's supposed to finish grad school in the spring of 24. Recently, she mentioned she told her advisor that money was getting tight for her. Her advisor told her that she could potentially finish her master's work from home her last semester. I expressed my approval of this idea, only for her to immediately begin making excuses of, well, I have a place to live here already, and, well, then I'd have to find someone to sublet. This cut me deeply. I mean, it really freaking hurt to hear her say that. I realize this is getting long, so I'll try to wrap it up quickly. Lately, I've been looking for jobs in the town she lives in, and I was seriously trying to make a plan to move there as it's generally a better place to live. At first, she seemed really into the idea when I brought it up. Things she said during that conversation really bothered me though. She was basically saying that she doesn't know where she's going to end up when she finishes school. As I described earlier, we agreed when we started to get serious in our relationship that we would move to the place where the first person got a job in their career path. It's hard to describe, but the indifference that she was going to go live in another state without me was striking. I really truly feel as though I'm no longer a priority in her life. This is what brings me to write this post. I'm seriously thinking about just ending it and moving on with my life. I couldn't take much more of having a long-distance relationship. I agreed that I would stick with this until she finishes school, but if she decided to move to another state, that will likely be the end. Yeah, I mean, I don't blame OP. I completely understand she wants to go after her career field. She wants the opportunities that moving to that place will bring her. But if that's a deal breaker for OP and it's just not something they can compromise on or figure out, then it's not realistic for this relationship, right? It's not even anything personal. Plus, she doesn't really sound that committal to you anyways. I don't know where I'm going to be after graduation. Doesn't really sound like she's factoring you or your situation into it. Our next story is, my boyfriend, 35-year-old male, never wants to do anything and we're moving to the countryside to save money. female 31. We've been together for 5 years. He's always been an introvert but would do things with me, but for the past year and a half he's lost some Bitcoin and became depressed. He earns a decent salary, so he's okay financially, but he never wants to do anything. We have a dog together. His parents have offered their vacant place in the countryside for us to live in while we save money for a house together. I'm scared of being in the countryside without any friends nearby, knowing I can't rely on him for socials. We live in London and I have a huge friend group, so I'm always out and about. I'm an extrovert at a 9 out of 10, and he's an introvert at a 9 out of 10, so it's hard to do stuff together because he never wants to go out. Like I said, he's gotten worse, otherwise I would have left years ago, but I do love him and know he's fun to be around when he can be bothered. My cousin's visiting from abroad and she's excited to meet him. I explained that he's a hermit and she doesn't understand why he can't offer 2 to 3 hours one evening to go for a coffee with us. My boyfriend just can't be bothered to make an effort with her. He also smokes a lot of weed and I've explained to him he needs to cut down because it makes me uncomfortable. He's never sober and always forgets. He accidentally ordered flowers to our house instead of his mom's address for her birthday because he was stoned when he placed the order. He finally agreed to spend a day getting stoned with my cousin at a local park, but still is not sure about leaving the area to go for a coffee. He keeps blaming it on work deadlines, but I know it's an excuse not to go out. Anyways, I'm not sure if I should bring this up with him because it seems like the older he gets, the less interested he is in ever leaving the house. I can't imagine what he'll be like in his 60s or 70s. I do enjoy watching Netflix with him and cooking at home, but he just has no interest in travel or leaving. I booked a holiday for us next month, but he's not looking forward to it and keeps saying he hates the fact that we'll spend money when we should be saving. Listen, I love living the hermit, relaxed, don't go anywhere life more than anybody, but if I were in a relationship where my partner wanted to go out and do things, I'd be more than happy to go with them and experience those things. I don't think it even has anything about being an introvert. You can still go and do things and be an introvert with your partner. Either they have a legitimate fear that honestly maybe they need therapy to discuss, or really it just circles around the fact that they don't want to make an effort. It's just too much effort. Our next story is my 27-year-old female boyfriend, 28-year-old male, goes to church with his ex-wife every Sunday. So my boyfriend and his wife separated 9 months ago. They're still married and have 3 kids together. I found out yesterday he went to church with her and his kids and sat together. Apparently they always do this. He says they just happen to go to the same church and don't ride there together. I told him this bothers me and he says I'm being insecure. When he first met me, he told me he still has feelings for this woman. I know they have to stay in contact for the kids, but this seems like a bit much. I'm considering ending things. Am I being unreasonable? You know, maybe it would be one thing if they were going to like the diner and hanging out together, but if they're all going to church, I don't see how that's that big of a deal. I mean, if there's more than just what they're describing going on, then there's an issue. But just going to church, and especially going with your kids mainly, I don't think it's a big issue here. The real problem is getting with somebody who says, oh yeah, I'm still married to this woman, and I still have feelings for her. Our next story is I, 32-year-old male, got engaged, 27-year-old female, and now I have doubts about my relationship. I'm currently engaged to my fiance. We've been dating for close to 2 years, and now this is my 3rd year. We're in a stable relationship. We rarely fight, respect each other, and we do love each other. The only thing that's bugging me is she's quite a mind person, i.e. logical person that I now realize is not easy to get along. I'm more of a feeler, so I start to feel stressed when I'm with her. It's the kind of feeling of stressed. I tried talking to her and see a couple of counselors together to understand this matter. We've only been once to the couple counselor and waiting for the next. I suddenly have doubts about the relationship. I mean, I don't know if I really understand where OP's coming from, but I would certainly give the counseling more of a chance before making any rash decisions, especially in a situation where you're stable, you rarely fight, and you love each other. This next story is my, male 25, friends, female 25 and female 29, think I hang out with them because I fetishize them for their race. I have 2 female friends who both identify with a different ethnic group than mine. We've been, I thought, very close for many months now. confiding in each other and sharing moments of adversity, joy, all of that. Someone who knows all three of us recently texted me that they were drunkenly joking about me in a way that bothers me more than it probably should. They think I like them and seek their company because I want to hook up with them. What's more, they think it's because I have a fetish for their ethnicity. They've been joking among their other friends about how I must fantasize about threesomes and make all kinds of bizarre humor connected to their race and culture. This did not come out of totally nowhere. I actually do have a girlfriend who also shares their race. Of course, she's also humiliated by this. Telling her about it at all was really stupid of me. I guess the two friends made some inference that they're also my type, and that's why I want to be around them. I'm having a hard time working out why this bothers me so much. I guess it feels insulting that they see me that way, or don't have the same understanding of our friendship that I do. I'm not sure. I don't know what to do about this. That's not a very friend-like thing to do, to be honest. I mean, maybe they were just joking around, but like, how, if that ever got back to you, would you take that and not be bothered by it? Honestly, I'd consider calling them out on it and talking about how you're legitimately hurt by it. And then, depending on their reaction, you can really tell if they're a friend or not. Our next story is, I, female 24, can't accept that I'm anything more than a rebound on my boyfriend's, male 24, cheating wife. No matter how happy he seems, he's equally insecure about my past. How do we get past this? I've had one serious relationship that lasted 2.5 years when I was 18 to 21. I'm now 24, and I've had two that lasted less than 4 months in the interim. A whopping body count of 3 prior to meeting my boyfriend. Been with my boyfriend for nearly 5 months, and it's the first time I felt so at ease with a partner since I was 18. By contrast, he's been with one woman and in one relationship. It lasted 4 years, a year and a half of which involved the law. I had ended things with my cheating ex of only 4 months, 5 weeks before we met. I dated someone new literally 2 weeks later and went on 5 dates with him. I ended that maybe a week prior to meeting my boyfriend. This upsets him. When I mention a memory that involves an ex, he gets upset sometimes. I feel similarly. I worry a lot that I'm a rebound. He left his wife after catching her cheating a second time on New Year's Eve. He met me in early April. When I scroll through his Facebook or Instagram, I see tagged pictures of them and I feel nauseous. It hurts and I feel like I'm not special. He somehow feels similarly when he recalls that I went on a date with another guy the day after our first. Ironically, that date was with a guy I'd crushed on for a long time. On that date, I was so disappointed and was thinking, that guy I literally just met yesterday was so much better than this. The sad thing is, things are basically perfect aside from this. We're very alike. I don't know how to handle this. So I just feel like both people in this situation come across as kind of inexperienced. I mean, I can understand it enough on the guy's part. He'd been only in one relationship up until this point, so they're new to coming to grips with the fact that your partner is going to have a past. And to be honest, I think for a lot of people, I feel like you tend to not want to dwell on it too much. You don't want to think about it or hear details about those kinds of things. If you got a good thing, don't let these insecurities ruin it for the either of you. I think it's something that either of them have to work through themselves. Our next story is, I, female 30, feel like my husband's, male 34, eating habits are my responsibility and it stresses me out. We've been together a year and a half now. If I'm wrong for putting this burden on myself, help convince my anxiety-ridden mind. I can't help this thought. It makes me so stressed. My husband doesn't know how to cook, and I've been in charge of our meals our whole relationship. We both have a history with eating disorders. I'm 3 months postpartum, and I think pregnancy really helped me overcome mine for the most part, since I had to keep eating for the baby. Husband struggles with weight gain. I genuinely think he looks great, but his body image consumes him daily. He'll complain constantly when he's hungry, but won't do anything for himself. Never really has. But if I insist enough times that I'll make him something, he'll finally eat. My feelings jump between, I feel like he's making this my responsibility and this is my responsibility. I end up making him something because I want to make sure he eats. But there's this feeling underneath that I also really just want him to stop complaining. It bothers me he won't take care of himself. I can't shake the feeling that it's part of my job as his spouse to make sure he eats. but it truly exhausts me to go back and forth for 45 minutes begging him to eat something, telling him I'll make him something, or asking him to feed himself. Additionally, he seems extremely picky, probably part of the eating disorder, I guess, and will have a house full of food and he refuses to eat any of it. But if I suggest McDonald's, he's okay with that. Should I stop causing myself the stress of begging him to eat? Should I let him deal with his choice not to? Should I keep trying to get him to eat or make something for himself? How much of this is my responsibility? I mean, I think it's nice if you want to help or make sure that your partner does eat, but it shouldn't be your sole responsibility to feed them like they're some, 34-year-old toddler? He's more than old enough to not be helpless, and I definitely wouldn't enable the behavior of allowing them to get away with not being able to make food for themselves or eat. Our next story is my 24-year-old female, mom, 62-year-old female, wants to divorce my dad, 61-year-old male. I want to talk some sense into my dad before it's too late. I'll try to keep it as short as I can. My parents have always been a very tricky couple. They have vastly different interests and personalities with pretty different cultural backgrounds as well. My mom's from a Latin American country, and my dad is Scandinavian. Up until this point, these differences seem to have been manageable, and they've helped each other out in the different areas where one is lacking. They've helped each other stay afloat, but, of course, not without tension. Both can be pretty toxic, but in completely different ways. I have a lot of sympathy for them both since they've both had their own set of challenges, sometimes making relationships difficult. I think my mom suffered from postpartum depression when my sister was born, 18-year-old female, and growing up, she took a lot of her frustrations out on me. The result of that is that growing up, I was closer to my dad and still to this point even today. My dad worked in another city and visited us during the end of the weeks. My mom didn't have a car at this point, and she was managing a job, studies, and 2 kids alone half of the week. Looking back at it as I'm older, I feel sorry for her even if I've been angry at her at times. However, as they've aged, my mom has gotten a lot more agreeable during the years, and she's apologized for how she's treated her family in the past. We have a better relationship today. My dad, however, is the one that has gotten more toxic as he's aged, and it's gotten to a point where my mom feels completely fed up with what she perceives as a lack of love, support, and affection from him. He's been working from home the last 6 or 7 years, and the last 3 years, he's gotten completely immersed in radical political beliefs and conspiracy theories. He's gotten bitter despite being a high-paid CEO, having a beautiful house, and a family. Frankly, he hasn't a lot to be bitter about. He's completely disinterested in having a conversation that doesn't turn into a political conversation where he's always right and starts preaching about everything that's wrong with society. It can be quite suffocating. I have the option to just disengage when he does that. It doesn't help either that I suspect that he's on the autism spectrum. Not diagnosed, but he has a brother that was diagnosed a couple of years ago. My dad has some traits, but is more high-functioning. For that reason, I can have some grace with his one-sided, radical, stupid conversation topics, but I understand my mom is running out of patience, and my dad doesn't seem to get it, despite her trying to communicate the behaviors he does that makes her feel unloved. If I mentioned to him that my mom would appreciate if he invited her out sometime, he'll invite her out, but then he'll be completely disinterested in having a conversation with her, pick his nose, and behave like an overall childish brat. That's the only way I can put it. Anyone having experienced having bitter parents that feel like the world has wronged them and in turn turn into brats as they age because they don't feel like they owe anything to the world in return? How do you speak to an overall intelligent, but despite that, emotionally immature, bitter, and defensive middle-aged man that doesn't think anything that isn't related to science, politics, or his work is completely unimportant? How do you deal with someone you've loved as you've grown up and has been a very loving and doting father turn into someone disinterested, childish, and bitter? There's so many mixed feelings into this. At the end of the day, I think it becomes more of a question of what can you do? Can you change this? You can't force them to go to therapy if they don't want to do it. You can't force them to stop talking about politics if that's all they want to talk about. And sadly, over the last 6 or 7 years, a lot of people have become that way. I mean, really, can you do anything? I mean, you can talk to them, you can explain your concerns, you can tell them what you feel they should do, but if they don't care, if there's no effort being made on their part to do anything, then they're the ones choosing to ignore the life raft you're trying to float out there. They're more than happy treading water where they are, even if they're too stubborn to realize it. Our next story is, how do I, 25-year-old female, get over the fact that I've never been any of partner's 21-year-old male aesthetic preference? I know it sounds really bad and almost surface level. I don't think I'm a bad-looking person, but I've had it with my last 2 partners and the one that I'm with now, 8 months so far, that I've not been their aesthetic preference. And it's really starting to get me down and affecting my self-confidence. I get everyone is entitled to their own preferences, and there's nothing wrong with the kinds of girls, in this case, that they're attracted to. As a note, I'm basing this off consistent patterns of people they've liked prior to me, and types of people that I've seen them all take second looks at. I know it's not majorly important, but for context, man A liked preppy American-looking Abercrombie and Fitch style girls. Man B, gingers and Europeans. Man C, current, gingers, goths, milfs, Europeans, muscular women and tall women. I am not and have never fit into any of these categories. I'm really tired of feeling like I'm second choice aesthetically for all of these people. I don't even vaguely fit into them, except for the fact that I'm ethnically European, but even then I'm very short. I just want to feel desired and that I'm somebody's dream girl aesthetically, as well as personality-wise. It's really getting me down. I just feel like OP has way too much insecurity going on here. I mean, all of those guys can like all of those things and still love and adore OP. I think even if OP's not traditionally somebody that those guys would go for, that doesn't even truly matter. I've said it a number of times in the past, but when you find somebody that you genuinely click with, traditionally your preferred aesthetic or not, that person will become your preferred aesthetic just because you're that into them. I truly believe that. Being a preferred aesthetic is fine and all, but how's your relationship? Our next story is me, 25-year-old female, and my boyfriend, 40-year-old male, of 2 years broke up. He met a woman 2 weeks later, and now he's marrying her. His friends are worried that he's making a mistake and want me to talk to him. Should I? Me and my ex-fiancé were together for 2 years. We got engaged last September. My biggest dream in my life has always been to be married with kids by 30, so I was fully ready to get married. Especially to him, he was everything I ever imagined my future husband to be. But as we started planning the wedding and the prospect of really being married began to settle, I got cold feet. He's a very stubborn guy who's been babied and put on a pedestal by his family and friends his whole life. Plus he's loaded, so his ego is kind of massive. I let a lot of things go because I thought they weren't worth fighting over, but when I was faced with marrying him, I wondered if I'd be okay with letting so many little things go for the rest of my life, and if they'd accumulate and get worse. I was very open with him about how I felt, and in January of this year, I suggested we spend a week apart to see how we'd fare without each other. I figured if I couldn't survive a week without him, I could marry him. But as the days went by, I found myself feeling so much better without him. So at the end of the week, I ended things. He wasn't okay with it. There were lots of tearful conversations as he tried to convince me to stay, and I considered it. But I felt like something had broken between us, and I didn't feel so sure about him anymore. We went our separate ways. About a month went by before he contacted me again with the, "My life isn't the same without you. You make me a better person. I need you. I don't know how to live without you. No one sees me the way you do." Now, this is where it gets weird. Apparently, a few days after I left him, he joined a dating app where he met a 22-year-old woman and started seeing her regularly. So by the time he contacted me the second time, he'd already been seeing her for a while. I confronted him about this, and he said that he threw himself at her to try and forget me because he couldn't get me out of his head, and was sick because he couldn't sleep or eat, blah blah blah. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. If he truly wanted me back, maybe don't hook up with the first woman who makes herself available. All feelings of love I harbored for this guy immediately vanished, and I've been completely repulsed by him ever since. He transformed into a completely unrecognizable person that I didn't know anymore. Anyway, my best friend and his best friend are brothers, go figure, so my best friend gives me updates. Basically, my ex proposed to this new woman around 2 months after they got together, and he's marrying her next weekend. My best friend just broke the news to me today because he found out that his brother had been invited and he wasn't. Even though I'm completely over my ex, I still literally vomited when I found out. I don't know why. I didn't want him to marry, and now that I have perspective and see him in a new light, I can't imagine why anyone else would want to marry him. I just don't know how to feel about this. I don't know if I should be angry or sad, or if I should just try to ignore it all and forget about it. His friends reached out to me to say he hasn't been the same since I left. They think he's going through a midlife crisis and would greatly benefit from seeing me and talking things through. I don't really think he deserves that, but I told him I'd think about it. I can't help but feel that he's marrying this woman to get back at me in some way, and she's marrying him for his money. I've also considered the taxi cab theory, which kind of makes me feel awful because it makes me think that he just wanted to get married and didn't care to who, which cheapens our relationship. The whole situation is so messed up and I have no idea what to do, if I'm even supposed to do anything. So, to be honest, I just don't understand why OP is going on and on about this guy that they didn't want to be with and they left. OP needs to work to get over this guy and keep them out of their head. Why is OP still so obsessed about this guy that they felt so badly about in the past? It's not their place to save anybody from getting married to this guy. It's not your crusade to forever bear upon because you dated this guy in the past. But with that being said, that's all the time we have for today. Now, if you want to hear another absolutely tricky relationship topic, check out that video on the left. Or if you missed my latest video, check out that video on the right. That said, I'll see you all next time with some more stories.